listening to Table Talk with your host, Anthony Irvin, aka Spoken Life, along with a new special guest every other Thursday starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in live on Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, and more. Let's start the show. Hey guys, what's going on? Anthony Irvin here as your host, aka Spoken Life. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. You are listening to Table Talk, and this is the 10th episode, guys. We are now in double digits. I'm so glad that I'm in my 10th episode already. It feels like I can already remember the first episode. I want to give a shout out to all of my guests that I've had in previous episodes, if I can remember them off my bat. Nikki Spafoni, Justin Yates, Tom Curtis Jr., Frank Biscotti, Jairus Cook. We had Auburn Music on here. We had interest from Sin. And if I missed anybody, I'm very sorry. I believe I hit them all. Phil Luna. We've had Phil Luna. Can't forget Phil. Thank you guys all for being on here. And I hope to see you guys on the show again very soon. But tonight we have a very special guest who is a very dear friend of mine. And I've been talking with him to get him on the show here for the last couple weeks. And we have now finally been able to get him on here. So let's, without further ado, get him on here. Please welcome David Earl, everybody.
Yo, guys, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Not much. About 3 seconds as you're introducing me, I was choking on beer and I was like dying over here. I was like, please don't put me on. Don't put me on yet. So.
That would have been the perfect introduction. It's unique.
That's true.
So, guys, I know we have a little bit of the same type of, fan base, but thank you guys for all being here. And if you guys haven't already, please make sure you guys are sharing the feed and make sure you guys are using the hashtag Table Talk when you are posting on your profiles, so we can be able to see them on in the replays and stuff. We want to make sure that you guys are sharing. Make sure you guys are chatting with us tonight. A couple shout outs in the chat. We have Stefan and Sandy. Thank you guys for all being here.
Hi, Mom. My mom's watching.
Oh, hi, Mom. Yeah, guys, we want you guys to be very active in the comment section tonight, because we can definitely see this description says Anthony. Yes. Yes. Sorry. I forgot Anthony DeSalvatore Jr. We've recently had him.
I saw that guy perform the other night for the first time at Beret in AC, and he's amazing.
Yeah,
that guy is really good.
He's a very good friend of mine. He's awesome, and we were talking about that show on the last show. So, when I saw you post about that actual venue, so I'm like, oh, I hope they actually cross paths. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
so,
I got to meet him that night. We didn't talk much, but he seems like a cool dude. I added him on here and stuff. So
he's a very cool dude, and a very cool and talented musician. And if you guys want to check out the last episode with me and Anthony, make sure you go to spokenlifemusic.com /table talk or table talk. So and you can check out all the other past episodes as well. So David Earl, or aka the David Earl Experience, why don't you give everybody a little description of your music journey, how you came about, and how the David Earl Experience all started?
Let's see. I don't know. It just kind of happened one day. 2007, I want to say, or 8. I had a project before this called Hiding Behind a Lie, which, don't look it up if you want to hear really bad music. And all I did in that project was play guitar. And I was like, it's not as fun, because you don't feel that interaction with the crowd as much. I mean, you played guitar in a band, and you didn't do anything. You were kind of in the background. And then I dated a girl in high school, wrote love songs, did that whole thing. And I was like, oh, I kind of like songwriting. I did that, played a bunch of open mic nights. And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm playing this show, I'm playing that show. And then I became the Bacon Earl Experience one day, and that became
the Bacon Earl.
The Bacon Earl Experience.
I should have had got a picture of you in the bacon costume.
You've never seen it in real life.
I haven't, and I hear good things.
Oh, but yeah, it just kind of happened one day for me playing music. Like I've always been around concerts and music, and I book, so it's like, oh, cool, I could put myself on shows with bands I like.
Right. And so yeah, I mean, I think we met through obviously the music scene,
Yeah.
but so were you a singer-songwriter before, or did the sound engineer type of thing come before
So
that, or did you kind of cross paths with both in like some way?
About the same time frame. Like I started booking shows in 2007. And
Okay.
I think I started the David Earl Experience 2008, like late
Okay.
2008.
So it was relatively pretty like
it was all like it all kind of like tied in with each other, along with the sound, like so it all just kind of happened all at the same time. So
right.
to get my like foot in that whole world to stay there, it's like, all right, well, one of these will work out for me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I feel. I mean, being in the other bands I was in, it's kind of just like, I was when you're in high school, and I was talking about this with other past guests, but like, when you're in high school, I'm not sure if it was the same way in Jersey. It probably could have been because we grew up in the band scene, but like when you were in high school, if you weren't in a band, you were like, well, what are you gonna do? So it seemed like everybody was either in a band or they were doing something.
It was kind of different in Vineland. Like in Vineland, Vineland used to have a really good music scene. Like bands like Fall Out Boy would come through, like Yellow Card would play here, like when they were nobodies. But like that was all a few years before I got into high school, so like I missed out on that scene. So by the time I got into high school, it's like when MySpace was fading out, so like YouTube was becoming a thing. So people started, like in high school at least, stopped caring about like the music. But then like I met people in Vineland that like music, but I just didn't go to school with them. It was like weird. Like a lot of my music friends are older than me, so it's.
And that's the thing with definitely with music, that sometimes you just the networking in the music community is all around, either wherever you are. It's always like a mixture of people, ages, and different people. So like you can totally just kind of get lost in how many people you can meet. I've met so many countless people.
Like my buddy Steve Watch, and he runs North Step Productions out of Atlantic City. Like he's probably like double my age, and he's one of my best friends. And I met him through the music scene. He's helped me a lot doing shows and everything. So without him, I probably would have stopped years ago.
Hey, it's those people that kind of just give you that motivation to keep going, and you just need that little support system, And
I know I stroked his ego a little bit. I'm never going to hear the end of it now.
Well, shout outs to him for keeping the David Earl Experience going and motivated. So thank you. So trying to think anything before we kind of get into our little first song. I know we had a little hiccup at the beginning. My the little signal and the Facebook wasn't going, so it kind of had to end the broadcast and then bring in the broadcast. So if anybody's coming back from that, thank you guys for being here. And just a little plug again. Thank you guys for being here. This is Table Talk. My name is Anthony Irvin, and my guest tonight is David Earl. So thank you guys, and make sure you guys are sharing this out. We want to be able to get as many people in the chat tonight, and make sure you guys are here and in the comments asking us questions. It can either be for Dave, it can be for me, it can be something for both of us. We want to be able to have you guys be part of the show as well.
Yeah. Ask whatever.
That's anything appropriate that we can possibly answer. So with that said, Dave, why don't you start us off tonight with a song?
All right, let's see. I'm gonna play an original.
All right.
Called "Everything I've Always Wanted to Say," and I have not played the song in about a year until about an hour ago. So let's see how it goes.
Here we go.
When I talk to you, everything feel better. As in items of my day. With the things you say, when I talk to you, I'm falling for you. Take me to another place. I want to stay there with you.
Woo!
Got through
it. There you go. Very nice. So what was the name of that song again?
That was called Falling for You.
Falling for You. Okay. So was that one of your...
I think that's on YouTube, I think.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can check that little song out on YouTube. Yeah, Dave's got a YouTube channel, so make sure you guys subscribe to his channel, youtube.com/David Earl Experience. I'll keep that up there for a minute for you guys. So about that song, Dave, was that one of your first songs, or when did that song kind of come about?
So that was actually the last original I wrote, probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the latest David Earl Experience song, my new.
Right. The new.
The new. And maybe on Spotify one day in like 6 years.
Yeah, you never know. It might be. We might see the experience on Spotify.
See, the thing with me is you can't find my music online, so you have to come to a show and experience it in person.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the hook. And especially if Dave's wearing the bacon suit, that's what makes it all happen.
Exactly. And you never know when's going to happen, so you have to come to every show. So
there you go. He might play a little something different. He might play the same song 10 times. You never know.
Ocean Avenue. If you've seen me before, you guys all.
There you go. Do I not try to request that every time I see you?
Every time.
And then I tried to play it for you, and I totally messed it up.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing.
I was probably drunk that night.
Hey, it's 2020.
That was like when COVID first starting and like everybody and their mothers did live streams, right?
Yeah, I think so. You know,
I missed that time of quarantine and COVID and all that because
I mean, I think it's kind of slowed down in the last couple months, but yeah, I mean, it was fun, and there were definitely times where like you said, everybody and their mother was on Facebook Live and doing this and doing that.
But it was fun.
Oh, it's definitely fun, and not speaking of anything, but I had to kind of scale myself back because I felt like I was like burning myself out too, because especially since but if you're doing it for a living, you just got to keep going for it. But luckily,
I had friends in cover bands that were like doing it, and then like during the summer they got gigs back, and then like now things get stripped away, so like who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of things lined up, and then they started getting stripped away. So I thought I was coming back on the top end. Yeah, and I mean, especially right now, I wouldn't even be playing. I played outside a few times, and there was this like one October. I played on a block party like down the street from me. It was in October. I think it was in high school, and it had to been the most coldest October day, and I could barely even play my guitar. My hands were like literally numb. And I'm
So
like that.
I
At that
have
point, I was like, I never want to play outside again.
I have a story like that. So I did one legit cover gig ever. I don't want to name the place because that place didn't understand music at all.
Mhm.
But they hired me to do like, your normal 3-4 hour kind of set, and
Right.
the pay was nice and everything. So I was like, okay, cool. So I set it up to where I did 3 45-minute sets, 15-minute breaks. Standard.
Which is pretty standard, yeah.
Standard. So I'm up there, I play my 45 minutes, I leave my guitar, walk away to go get food for 15 minutes. My phone is being blown up by like the owner of the place asking where I'm at, why I'm not playing music, and they thought they booked me to play music for consistently 3 hours, and it was probably like 40 something degrees out that day.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wasn't that nice to them when I collected my check at the end, and I told them that like the way you guys want music here isn't the way music's done in the real world. And
I can play a good 2 hours and not take a break. If I'm like in the zone and the crowd's kind of good and they're responding back to me and I'm having fun up there.
Yeah.
And I know I have like a 3.5 hour set total, but usually I
Like,
try
I
to
could play
expand
for
it.
a while too, but I was more of like a background kind of
Yeah,
person
yeah. When you're
playing.
the background, it's kind of like if you know
And it
you're
was
just the
like
background,
in the
I do shorter sets with that.
and it was in the cold. It's like, really?
That
Like,
too. Yeah,
and
yeah.
the funny thing is, I think they booked one other person after that, and they never had music at this place again. The place
Well,
wasn't a bar or a venue or anything, so it's like they really didn't get music.
then and they probably just didn't know how to really run it in the sense of like you have certain things like this and you have to be able to have artists that can do this and then not put them outside in the cold
And
weather.
I asked them, I was like, hey, do I need to provide what equipment? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, do you guys have PA? Do you have audio? They're like, oh, we have a speaker.
A speaker.
Hey,
we have a JBL Bluetooth speaker if you need that.
not even.
Right. Well, we have an iPad. I
We
mean,
have an iPad. Can you hook up to that?
yeah, I mean, it might blow up, but yeah.
That was probably the worst gig I ever played though. Like, not like it was a cool spot, but like just the vibe of like the behind the scenes of it, it was just like not fun.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can probably get into some what were your best shows and kind of worst shows in a way. Even though I mean, I feel every show is a learning curve in a way to kind of just you take things and we all have our bad days. We all have our good shows that we're like,
Really
oh, that was
anything as like a bad show, really. Like it's all like a learning experience too. Like,
yeah.
and like me, you played the same kind of shows I play. It's like sometimes nobody shows up and it's just what it is, and you played it nobody, and you can play the best set ever, or you can play to a sold out crowd and play like shit. It's just like
exactly.
But sometimes I like that doesn't bother me. I'm just like, all right, whatever, it happens.
And I'll tell you the truth, like I've had probably almost the same amount of experiences with having a good set with just 5 people in the room of like close friends or just people. And I've had the same experience with playing to probably about over 100 people in Philadelphia at the Trocadero.
One of like the coolest shows I had that like no one was at, I played in Albany, New York, which I realized Albany is like New York's Camden. I've
never been up to Albany before.
One street is nice and everything else is like, all right, this is a little weird. I don't belong in this state right now. But yeah, so I played this show, really cool venue called I'm blanking on the name. I think the place ended up closing anyway. Oh, Paulie's Hotel in Albany, New York. This like little dive bar like on the corner street, whatever. So I get booked there. It was me and 2 other acoustic acts after a matinee punk show, and I mean like punk, like people with like spiked mohawks and all this. So I walk in there for loading.
Like the OG punks.
Yeah, so I walk in for loading, and I'm like, what is going on? I was like, this is cool, but like, all right. I was like, none of these people are staying for the acoustic show after.
Yeah, I had those type of things too. Like when I was doing a lot of acoustic stuff, like when I was starting out, I'm like, and I would be, think I had a couple Jersey ones, and it would be like, a lot of the standards, you'd have a lot of bands, and then you'd have like a small acoustic act going. I'm like, there's nobody that's going to be watching me because there's half these people are going to be here for these bigger bands, and I'm just going to be.
Have you ever been like the acoustic act, like middle of a show?
I think so. When I was first starting out, like they would just put me in like the very middle of it as like a break, and then you'd have like the people like, okay, I'm gonna go out, have a cigarette, have
it's a weird vibe. Like I played in Massachusetts, and the promoter of the show is a good friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, I want to, you're from out of state, you want people to watch your set." And I was like, "You sure you want to put me in the middle? Like that's weird. Like everyone else is like, out and rocking, and I'm just like up here with singing my acoustic songs, like." But it was
usually, I mean, if it's those type of things, I'd rather just play the beginning or like kind of like closer to the middle, but not like the middle of the show, because
like within the first 3 acts, depending on how many bands,
right? Because I mean, if you're the opening act, and unless you're bringing people out, you're not going to really have anybody there, because then everybody's going to come to the next the next person there.
Yeah, but so I played in Albany, and there was another touring act on the show. They asked to switch times with me, so I was like,
that's the worst too.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll switch times with them, and they played left. There was 3 people at the bar. Had a blast. I had all 3 of those people at the end of the night singing Ocean Avenue. We're all having a great night. The bartender hooked me up with a couple of drinks. They were like, "Oh, you guys came all the way from New Jersey to play here?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's like what I want to do." So
exactly, and we've definitely had. I mean, I've had, not as like a solo artist, but I've had the times of I went out to Ohio with Spectrums.
Okay,
and I think that was probably definitely one of my favorite shows, because we were out there with people we didn't even know, and they didn't even know us, and it was probably one of those times when we were playing, like we were just down like the 5-6 of us that we were people we were hanging out with, we would just down a whole liter of Jack and then go play a show. So half of us didn't even remember what we were doing, but we thought we played good, but it was fun as hell over there. And we got to go over there twice. Once by recording one of our EPs, and then we spent a week out there recording. And then they asked us to come out, I think probably within that same year or a year later, to go play some shows. So we, drove out there for the weekend, played a show, I think on a Friday or a Saturday night. And it was probably one of the funnest experiences, of just actually, it felt like you were on like an actual tour because you were out of your area.
Playing out of your area and having like a good experience is always cool. Like when I played in Massachusetts, like there was other bands on the bill that I knew from booking them in New Jersey. Like, I did the whole networking thing. I'll help you out, you help me out in the long run. So it was cool, like seeing everyone there, and it like gave off a good vibe. And then like I met more people, and then they're like, "Hey, if you ever come back, hit me up. I'll make sure I come out to your show." So
that's how it goes. Like I said, I think some of the best shows, I think, to answer Sandy's question, is what we've been doing.
My mom asked a question.
Okay, so at least I know Sandy's your mom. So at least to answer her question, I think we both kind of answered that. So it's good that we were able to, kind of have like those experiences of. I mean, sometimes like your best shows are just with like a very, very small niche of people.
But to short answer her question, my favorite. My 3 favorite shows I ever played was I opened for Ascenders at Rowan University.
Mm-hmm.
I opened for the Descendants at AC Beer Fest, and I opened for Saves the Day at AC Beer Fest.
Yes, I tried to get into the one with Saves the Day, but I don't think they picked me for. It was either that year or the previous year. I tried to see if they would get me on. I think they were doing a contest or something, and I think I lost one of the contests.
Following year after, because I played the first year they had the acoustic stage.
Right.
And they like asked me, they're like, "Hey, you want to play with Saves the Day, Less Than Jake and the Dirty Heads? All the beer you can drink?" I was like, "Let me think about that." Yes.
I just want to give a shout out to Brad. He was saying the one gig I remember just plugging in, and that's it. A complete blackout. Luckily, it was nothing and a lesson learned. Yeah, Brad. I gotta say, sometimes those were like I've only had like one or two of those type of shows, but it had to have been the funnest things because you don't have to worry about like, oh, are these people gonna like or am I gonna mess up, because you were already relaxed at the time being anyway. So. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get a song in here, and then we can.
Guitar and
yeah, I'm gonna sit up here. I'll get a little song in here. I like to usually start out this one. I think when we're playing songs, I usually start out with this one as an original. So for those who have seen or known of my music here, this is one of my personal type of songs, and this is off of my Reality EP. This song is called Shell. So break me out from the shell, 'cause I don't think I can do this on my own. I can't control my disquieting thoughts. But how does this come from a man with a cheerful heart? I aim to please the world before myself, 'cause I'm scared to death of the outcome, fear of what they'll think of me. Slow down and enjoy life, there's no cause for alarm. It's like being at war, constant battle of frustration on the inside. Is there a method to this madness? And the thoughts that consume my mind. Ooh, I will find my way. Ooh, inner me will soon break away. Ooh, I will find my way. Ooh, I aim to please the world before myself, 'cause I'm scared to death of the outcome, fear of what they'll think of me. Slow down and enjoy life, there's no cause for alarm. So break me out from the shell, 'cause I don't think I can do this on my own. There you go. A little bit of Shell for you guys.
Do I clap? Am I?
Golf claps.
What was that song called?
That song was called Shell.
Nice.
So I actually
people that don't know you, like my family, find that.
Right. Yeah. So I actually recorded that for my second EP, which was called Learn It, Live It, Love It. And then when I went to record my EP Reality, which how you said talk about Ace Enders, I actually recorded not this one, but I recorded one of my songs in Ace Enders studio.
Oh, you want the lumberyard for that?
Yeah, one of my buddies was kind of doing like an intern with him in a way.
Okay.
And so we got to spend a little time in his studio. I didn't get to meet him, unfortunately, but we spent a little bit of time recording
Ace
my
is like
song
the
"Lonely
coolest dude
Soul."
ever, by the way. If you ever do get to meet him.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be like spending as much time there, so like one of those times I do get to kind of
So who was
cross
in the
paths with
studio,
him.
Nick? Who recorded you, Nick?
No, it was my buddy Ryan Pinkowitz.
Okay, I'm not sure who that is.
So I'm not sure. I don't think. I think Ace may have moved to another studio, but it was in starts with an H. It's not Hamilton. Yeah.
So it probably was the same studio, but within the past 5-6 years, they turned it into the lumberyard. So maybe you went there pre-lumberyard.
It was like an old antique shop in like the
okay. So the lumberyard, it's still the same studio.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so
apparently
that was a fun experience.
My niece was dancing when you were playing.
That's awesome.
Get you new fans, man.
There you go. Getting new fans in any way we can. But yeah, that was actually fun. The only part that kind of was unfortunate, I didn't get to meet Ace.
Yeah.
Because I would have definitely, if I would have had, because I was trying to tell Ryan at the time, like, do you think we could probably get him on one of these songs? He's like, I don't know. I mean, it depends on his schedule and everything. I was kind of living on a prayer. That I was living on a prayer, hopefully, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Maybe another one.
Yeah. Yeah, Ace is a cool guy. I mean, I'm not sure if you're like an Early November fan or whatever. Like that's my favorite favorite band or whatever. So like I've seen them like a dozen times. But
yeah, I got a question here. So you probably saw it because we can say the same chat.
That's why I paused and I laughed for a second because sure that's my buddy Steve asking that. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. My favorite doorstep show. The one that you weren't at and I ran it all by myself. No, favorite doorstep show. That's hard, Steve. You put on a lot of good shows. You put on a lot of crappy shows, but you put on a lot of good shows too. This year, since there hasn't been many, Saliva was pretty cool. The shit show that is Green Jelly. Have you ever seen Green Jelly?
No.
Do you know who they are?
No, but the name just pops an interest to
when we
actually
get
see
off
something.
this, I'm gonna send you their music video. I guarantee you've heard their song "Three Little Pigs."
I probably have, just never knew the name and the song. Probably never connected.
Yeah, they were like a band in the '90s, and the guy from Tool is like on the song or something. But yeah, he's booked them 2 or 3 times now, and he's booked Sponge and like a bunch of like cool '90s bands and stuff. So yeah.
Very, very nice. Yeah, guys, keep the questions coming. It can either be for Dave, it could be for me, it could be, questions for both of us. We definitely want to keep you guys active, and thank you guys for all tuning in.
Green Jello is apparently.
Sorry?
Brad? I don't know who Brad is, but he knows who Green Jello is.
Okay, so Brad, you do know Green Jello. Okay. All right, so I must be the only one that doesn't know.
Do I like Story of the Year or 609? Like better, or do I like So my buddy Dave is now in the comments, and he's in 609. I'm gonna have to go with 609.
Now I don't know. I'll kind of put my little thing in there. I mean, I don't know 609, but I'm gonna have to say Story of the Year when they first broke out with Page Avenue, and just looking at their live show, that just blew my mind. That I think that was like made me want to just be in a band even more, just because of the high energy.
Like they do, like
that dude was so sick.
Oh
I saw him. I actually got to see them when they went on the Warped Tour, when they did their comeback, and I was waiting for that. And that dude is insane live. He does like you said, he
do Page Avenue the 10-year anniversary tour.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that. I think they did a little bit of it on the Warped Tour that year, though. Did they?
Did. Probably.
So I think they did play a couple. It had to have been within the last, because Warped Tour ended last summer. not this past summer, the summer before that. So I'd have to say 2 summers, so maybe 3-4 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been to too many Warped Tours to know like which one.
I've been to like 15 of them, I think. I don't know.
I've been going to Warped Tour, I think, since like 2005.
Oh wow!
I think my first Warped Tour, I went to the Hershey for it, and I was going with a bunch of people because they were like, "Oh, you should go to this summer thing," because I never heard of Warped Tour at first, and they're like, "Yo, we should go to this festival. It's called Warped Tour." I'm like, "All right, cool." I mean, I was already in band, so I was already going to shows and stuff. So I'm like, "All right."
I've Warped Tour since like 2005, but I didn't go until 2007 was my first year.
And it was a pretty decent setup too. They had Fall Out Boy, Hawthorne Heights,
like
was
the whole year, like My Chem and
I think My Chem was on there, like the whole squad of people there. It was a pretty sick lineup.
That early 2000s like emo like for perfection Warped Tour. Like everyone that was like big in the emo scene was on that Warped Tour that year.
Yeah, I think that like that certain year was like the biggest breakout of like a lot of those bands because and then once I started bringing my wife to Warped Tours because she never went to Warped Tour, and I started bringing her on to the Warped Tours, and she started going with me every year after that. And then we started
each other every year,
and then that would be like our 1 year anniversary of seeing each other. Be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll see you next year.
Have I seen you outside of Warped Tour? No, I booked you one time.
Yes, it was it was like a last minute gig. I think that I was trying to book, and I'm like, hey, do you have anything? And I went down the Vineland.
Who else was on that show? It didn't do that well. Like
I forget who was on there, but I did I play the beginning of the show or did I forget when did I play the beginning, or did you have me headline that night? Or
I think you opened. You might have.
I think I probably opened. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think you stayed long because you had to drive back to PA or something.
Yeah. What was it during the week? I think it was during the week, right? Because I probably had to go to work the next day. I think it was like a Thursday night or something.
I think you came with your dad.
I did come with my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember like it was like you and somebody else.
Yeah, I came with my dad. And I would probably have to I would probably think that it was probably a work night or like a weeknight for me, so I had probably to go to work. So and Vineland's about 45 minutes to an hour away from me.
Yeah.
So it is a decent drive. But I haven't been down there since like the Hangar 84 days.
My mother has false information. Mom, that was not Warped Tour, that was Bamboozle. Whole another
Sebastian Bach. Ooh, yeah. We're going there.
He was singing with crap, who was his backing band? It was like somebody really random, like The Sleeping or something was his backing band or something like that.
Do you remember Sebastian Bach and I think it was like the super group that they did back then?
No, what?
They had like a whole MTV, reality show on it. It was like the super group. I think it was the guy from Anthrax, Sebastian Bach, the bass player from Guns N' Roses. I think.
I remember that, but I didn't watch it.
And they
I
had
remember the one with Bret Michaels. I remember that show.
Yeah, it was like everybody likes Bret Michaels or something.
I did a gig with him one time. Dude's an asshole.
I can see that. I can definitely see him being like that because especially from being from that era, I can definitely see him having like an egotistical type of personality.
Yes,
it's either like you have like one type of way of being some way, or like no, he's definitely the latter.
Like he played this like acoustic gig, and he still had like a band or whatever, and he played none of his solo songs. All he did was all Poison, which it was cool. I'm not right. I'm not gonna be mad, but it's like you're also billing yourself as Bret Michaels that night. So I'm like reading the comments of my buddy Dave saying I got him too drunk at Warped Tour, which is probably true, but he was.
I was just gonna put that up. Like if you're not a little buzzed at Warped Tour, did you really go to Warped Tour?
He was probably drunk before I got him drunk, so I got him second drunk.
So speaking of Warped Tour, we wanted to definitely talk about this.
Yeah.
So you and me were trying to go, and I think this is how you and me met.
Yeah.
That we were trying to get on the acoustic stage.
We were rivals and we were enemies.
Yeah, I will say I kept looking at it. Who the hell is this David Earl guy, and why does he keep passing me? And then we just started talking. I'm like, okay, this guy's cool as hell, so I can't be mad at him anymore. Like, all right, let's try to both get on there. So then, and then obviously it never happened, but we still did.
What started the conversation?
I really don't know. I would really want to go back in our.
Were we just nice? Like, were we just trying to be nice to each other, or were like we started seeing the thing becoming what it turned into?
I think probably since we were getting so close and our numbers were ramping up, I was like, all right, well, let me just kind of talk to this dude. Or I'm not sure who started the conversation, either you or me, but
I don't remember.
But it was like, we knew that we were kind of both getting to that like top 10, top 5 spots. And we're like, okay.
And we were actually pretty high, like
yeah,
in the overall, like for all of the acoustic.
Yeah.
Which apparently Warped Tour Battle of the Bands did not like because we both promoted the same way.
Dude, we were promoting like 2-3 times a day.
Do you remember
anybody?
The acoustic basement stage like tweeted out like us how like don't comment the page or something like that to get
yeah
yeah
yeah, that was totally about it. It's like, if you keep on spamming the acoustic basement stage, we're not gonna we're like, oh well, I guess you don't want to promote the actual stage, but we're trying to do it for you, but whatever.
Yeah, so a little backstory on what we're talking about. So what year was that? 2012, 13, 14?
It had to have been 2012, 13 because I was just starting out.
Yeah, I think it was like 12. So we were both in the Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands for Warped Tour, and they had an acoustic stage. And that year they picked a band and an acoustic act to play. So the band played Ernie Ball stage, acoustic played acoustic basement. And we were both in there. And I think we were like the only really like acoustic act that had legitimacy behind them that signed up, right?
I think so. That if anything, there might have been like 1 or 2, but they weren't taking it that serious. I think you and me were like the ones that were just
only 2 taking
it
like serious, because I was like, oh, I want to play Warped Tour. Like, I don't care if I play before doors, kind of, Like,
exactly. It's like
it's
one of those things, like you said. Like, I don't care if I'm playing to just like a gated rail. Just get me on Warped Tour.
Yeah. So, yeah, we both kind of It was close, man, because you would be above me and then I would be above you, and it was like neck and neck. So I think it was like a week or so when they let people know who won, and out of nowhere, I don't want to say the band's name because I know the band,
right?
And out of nowhere, this band automatically submits to the contest, has no votes, gets on the acoustic basement stage.
And that's what really made me mad too. There was like no votes. I'm like, okay, we were busting our like ass every week, every day.
I don't think I promoted anything that hard.
Right. And I'm usually a pretty good like promote, and I usually try not to spam. I think that's the only time I spam the hell out of my family and friends, like every day. Like, please just give me a vote. Make sure you play. Did you play today? Did you play my music today? Play it. Make sure you play it. If you didn't play it, play it now.
Like the votes was like if people streamed your song or something, right?
Yeah, it's either like, they had to stream your song, and then I think depending on how long, if it was only like 30 seconds, like it wouldn't really count. You had to listen to it, I think, for a certain amount of time for the vote to count.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was like weird. But yeah, we basically started talking on there on Facebook. What was it, MySpace at that point?
It had to been MySpace, because I don't know.
It might have been on there.
It might have been. I'd have to probably say Facebook, because I think at that time, I mean, I wasn't really on MySpace as much.
Okay, I can't remember. Like, I still kind of use.
We probably did a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But then we found each other on Facebook, and we're like, okay, I mean,
on there. And yeah, and ever since we just kind of became friends, because we were the two acoustic guys that actually deserved to play the Warped Tour in 2012.
I demand a recount.
A recount. Hey, you said no politics. You told
until
me
this day we won.
You said no politics on this show.
I'm sorry.
Breaking your own rules.
Okay, right, but yeah, the host can break the rule once. It's okay. But yeah. So Dave, why don't we get you to play another song? I think people want to hear a little more music.
I think so. Let's see. I'm gonna play a song that doesn't have a title, and I wrote it probably 10 years ago, and it still has no title.
It's called Untitled.
It's called. That's the unofficial name of it, and I feel like at this point it's just Untitled.
There you go.
Days when all you did was smile, but it's all gone now. It's all gone now. So let's go back to the days when everything felt like we were on top of the world. Last night I thought about calling on the phone, but I couldn't get for a while wasn't giving it to me. So let's go back to the days when everything felt like we were on top of the world. Everyone's eyes could.
Yeah.
There you go. What was the name of that song again? Oh yeah, sorry. It was the name of the song was called Untitled.
Anytime I actually wrote a set list, I was like, Untitled. Like for the longest time, it was like new song, but then I wrote another new song that didn't have a title, so
Untitled
that became
2,
Untitled, and then something else became new song.
It's like your Johnny Craig type of thing, like Untitled and then like Untitled Part 2.
Don't compare me to him.
I was watching a video on him.
Talent wise, because I'll take his talent all day long.
Unless it was who?
His talent.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
regardless of his personal life, you cannot like not say that dude has a voice. That dude can sing his ass off.
There's this YouTuber called the Cozy Representative. He put out like a 3-part series on Johnny Craig recently.
I just saw that and watched it maybe like last month, and I've seen it come through my YouTube feed here and there, but I'm like, I don't want to watch a 45-minute video, but I'm like, all right.
The only thing I don't like about that dude's videos is they're so long. It's just like, but like when you do watch them, especially if it's like a band you like, you're like, whoa, like this dude did his research. So
he definitely did, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, I did skip through a couple of the chapters in here and there, but but a lot of like Johnny's back stuff I never really knew about, so it was cool to kind of just see. Like,
I didn't know about his original band.
No, I didn't either. I just
I checked him out. I was like, I like this.
Yeah, I mean, and especially with how his style comes, I'm like, all right, a lot of his older stuff is almost like how Dance Gavin Dance and Omarosa kind of formed if it was just like an unpopular other band. And it's kind of just unique how he had like that R&B type of vocal line, but then he mixed it with like that screamo hardcore, post-hardcore type of music, and it's never been done before. So I remember when somebody brought me and introduced me to Dance Gavin Dance, and I started hearing Johnny sing. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like, dude, this dude's like wailing.
Dance, like, that band doesn't make sense, but they make all the sense in the world.
Yeah,
and I can't figure it out.
And I saw Johnny Craig with Omarosa, and I was like, because usually I'll hear a band and I'm like, all right, cool, I get into them, and then I'm like, all right, now I got to see them live, because I always like to compare.
The song that hit they had with him. What was that called?
I think the past should stay in the past.
Yeah, the past should stay dead.
Yeah, the past should stay dead.
Yeah,
I think that was off the second Emarosa. There was the self-titled Emarosa album. The first one, Relativity. I think their leading track, the lyric goes tailored sheets.
Yeah,
that's not the song title, but that's like the first.
Yeah,
that's like the first, and I never knew that was the lyric was tailored sheets, because like, and it was fun. And going into like never knowing what his lyrics were, they had something in the part of saying, like, when Johnny was doing the Dance Gavin Dance stuff, he was so out of it that he was just blaring whatever came out of his mouth, and they had to go back when writing the lyrics for it. They had to just make up stuff.
That's what they were saying in that YouTube video.
Yeah, so that's where I got. I'm like, wow, that is like crazy how they just like, we had to go through like so many songs. I'm like, okay, it sounds like he's saying but it's not. I would have been so mad doing that.
Oh yeah. It's so funny. Like, imagine like being like a hardcore like Dance Gavin Dance fan and singing the words wrong the whole time at a show,
and then just saying, "Well, we didn't know what the words were either." So
we didn't know what they were either. We just kind of blurring them out.
We were just as confused as you.
I booked this one band years ago called Rocklanders. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but yeah, I don't know what happened. Everything froze. This is awkward. So I don't know if this is still going live, guys. Can someone tell me in the comments? Because Anthony froze. Yeah, he did.
Are we back?
Oh, I think we're back.
I think we're back. Okay, sorry guys about that. I was like, oh crap!
Like, you just like froze, and I was like, what?
We were talking about Johnny Craig, and the internet just said, no more Johnny Craig.
We got shut down. All right, on to the.
we didn't play pre-recorded music. We started talking about Johnny Craig, and that's what shut us down.
Shut it down.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But I totally forget what I was talking about. I think we were.
So do I.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys. We're glad everybody's coming back in. Sorry about the whole glitches and everything.
Yeah, as soon as you froze, I lost the train of thought, and I was just like, oh. I had one of those moments like, what am I supposed to do with my hands?
Yeah, like I was like, what are we doing? There's always those times where something goes wrong. I'm like, okay, I can't look at the camera and just not talk. And I'm like, all right, okay, cool, we're back. Okay, and we're back.
I think you should do another song now. I think
we should segue into another song, and then we'll kind of get into like one more little segment here, and then but yeah, before we get into that, thank you guys for being here. If you guys were kind of knocked off, hope you guys are coming back in. It seems like we still have the same audience, so thank you guys for staying here. My name is Anthony Irving, your host, aka Spoken Life, and you're watching Table Talk. And my guest tonight is David Earl of the David Earl Experience. So thank you, my brother, for coming on here and being the special featured guest tonight.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Happy Thirsty Thursday to everybody.
Oh yeah, it is Thursday. I don't know the days of the week anymore.
Right. And that's I was off for about 3-4 weeks when
my
this
birthday
whole
was like 2 weeks ago. I blinked and it's like the end of November.
That's right. Why did I not? Happy birthday. I totally. I mean, we should, after get this song, we'll talk about you just got done doing a live stream for your birthday show. We can talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna play here, and then I gotta remember my lyrics because I always forget my lyrics these days.
Dude, I'm proud of myself. The few songs I did, I was like, oh, cool, I remembered the whole song.
So I'm gonna play another one off of the Reality EP, and this is the one that I did record at Ace Ender Studio.
Oh, okay.
This song's called Lonely Soul. Hear your footsteps on the floorboards above. Just like cellophane, you just keep clinging to me. What is your purpose for your presence tonight? Your echoes wake me like a storm in the night. I think I've finally had it with the selfish cries. Need my guidance, 'cause even the loneliest souls need help finding their way back home. There's a ghost in my presence, and I'm not sure if he's here to send me a sign. I can finally sleep at peace, knowing I've saved a lonely soul. You're still calling and I don't know how to cope with these sleepless nights of wondering why you need my help. Is it love you're after? Fear you're seeking? Night air breathes out your silent screams. I'm just trying to find myself out of this dream. Yeah, I see it now. You were lost and now you're found. There's a ghost in my presence. Now I'm sure he's found his way back into the light. I can finally sleep at peace when I've saved a lonely soul. Now I can finally sleep at peace, knowing I've saved a lonely soul. 'Cause even the loneliest souls need out finding their way back home.
Really like that one.
I do too.
That's a really good song. What was it called?
It's called Lonely Soul.
Okay. So when you were playing, I pulled it up on Spotify so I could like listen to it later. I was like, oh, this is actually really good. So,
and I liked how I recorded it because, you know, I had the, you know, the whole, and I had that written down, and it was in a different rhythm.
Yeah.
And then me and Ryan kind of looked over, and you know, then we found a different strumming pattern for it that kind of worked with the lyrics, and because I didn't have anything lyrically written for it, and he kind of helped me with a lot. So we kind of co-wrote the song, but when I was you know, starting to mold it, I had some type of vibe of you know, I think I was listening to a lot of Wind and Sails. That's Evan Farmica's band. That
Yeah.
ex
I've heard the name. I never listened to him though.
Definitely recommend.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to In Spirit, which is basically the OG lineup of Vanna, go check it out. Go check it out.
Is that the new band, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the OG, like from the Curses album.
Okay.
So they've already put out 2 singles and they're putting out a full EP probably like next year. Good. It's good stuff so far.
I'm gonna pull it up now so I don't forget.
In Spirit. All one word. But I had a vibe going of just, I had a lot of people or things talking about like ghosts of like people haunting things, like ghosts haunting things. And I'm like, well, I don't see many people talking about like a positive way, because a lot of my music talks about like, positivity and stuff. So I'm like, well, how can I turn this into something like positive instead of like maybe a ghost like haunting somebody?
They'll not
maybe somebody, just a ghost trying to call out for help, but it may be like, misconstrued in a way. So that's kind of how the lyrics kind of molded into it. So like you're kind of just thinking that this being is like haunting you, but then you kind of later down the line figure out he's just asking for help, and then you're helping him, get home in a way. So that's how that song kind of came about.
Yeah, I really like that one. I think my mom put like the clapping in. My mom like loves all kinds of ghost kind of shit, so she's probably loving that.
Yeah, and the end of it, like near the end of it, kind of gets into like a full band type of thing. So I really liked how that turned out too. So it's like it kind of starts off like really mellow and kind of builds up to this live band thing at the end. So it's a cool thing. So if you guys want to go check out any of my music, if you guys are watching from anywhere, I do have a thing. You guys can all check out my music at my official website, spokenlifemusic.com. And make sure you guys are giving me a follow. Feel free on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Twitch and Periscope. And this broadcast tonight is actually being broadcast on Facebook, Periscope, and Twitch. So thank you for everybody who has been tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. And make sure you guys are sharing this out using the hashtag Table Talk, so we can always get some new members in here. We really love.
You told me we were going to be on Twitch side, like put Star Wars on and stuff. I was like, oh, some nerds might be watching us, so like perfect. I'll nerd out a little bit.
And I think I started Twitch back in like May, because I knew a lot of people. It was starting to really be like a big music scene on Twitch. And
I haven't like dove into Twitch yet for music.
So. I mean, other than doing the table talk here, I did do a lot more live streaming there, but I do want to get back into it because it's a different type of audience over there, and it's a different language that you have to learn in a way, because like they don't use hashtags.
Like, apparently.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Because it's a different type of language. They don't use hashtags. They use like it's like a upside down exclamation point for like their hashtags, and it's different. Like you use like emotes and all these like bits and stuff. So it's a different vibe and language. But I kind of like it. It's fun there. If you get through the troll phase, then it's fun.
I won't even care. I just want people watching.
And I've had some people that are like around the world watching it. It's cool, and that's like the best thing about live streaming. You're not like segregated to just one little area. You're broadcasting to basically the world.
Yeah.
Because unless the more people share, the more it gets out and floods out.
Yeah. So make sure you guys share this show, even when it's over. Share it. Like
absolutely.
You do this bi-weekly, right?
Bi-weekly. Yes.
So
this is a bi-weekly show, and usually have a new guest every show. And so this is episode 10. So I've been very glad to have now we're in the double digits, and again glad to have Dave here with me tonight.
Honored to be on the 10th one.
Yeah, the double digit episode.
Double digits. This is fun, dude. I like this a lot. I didn't know what to like expect, but like that's
what a lot of people usually kind of say. Like they don't really know what to expect, and I try to every show have somewhat of a format, but then it eventually, as the show goes on, it kind of just flows, and like we start having conversations and talking.
Well, anyways, we can have good conversations, so it worked out. Like,
of course.
I came on here to do like a little sound check with him, and we talked for what, over an hour.
Almost over an hour. We did pretty much. This is like our second show in a way.
Yes. So that means you have to have me back on this show, so we can talk more, because
we definitely have more to talk about. We can be here. We can be here all night if we really wanted to. And speaking of all night, I mean, we can try to for like one of the last few things. You did have a live stream of your own, because you usually do a birthday show in person.
Yes.
But due to COVID this year, you ended up doing a virtual live stream.
Yeah, this past year would have been my 13th year doing one.
Oh wow.
I think, yeah, because my booking company will be 14 come January. Yeah, so this would have been the 13th year in a row I booked the birthday show. And then, COVID messed it all up, and I go all out. I book like 15 bands on it, and like it's just a good time. I hang out with everyone. Mm-hmm. And it was like getting to that point is like, yeah, I technically can like book a band somewhere and like limit it, and it's like, it's not gonna have the same vibe. And I was like, you know what? Let me hit up a bunch of my friends. Let's do a virtual live stream. And I had a blast. It was like a 5-hour show. And I literally, like, a lot of it was pre-recorded. So I was seeing the stuff beforehand. But like, I put it all together, and I literally I like sat back and I just enjoyed it. And I was like, you know what? This may not be a real show, but this is really cool. So if anyone that was a part of that day is watching, which they're probably not, thank you, because that made my birthday. Like, that was like really cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to still, be able to do that, and hopefully next year, you can get back to doing, the normal in-person shows. Hopefully we can all
do another virtual.
and I think that's gonna be, even though we had to do a lot of virtual stuff this year, I think, it's not a bad thing sometimes doing virtual stuff.
But what? I think it's gonna bridge the gap between both worlds once like shows get back to some kind of normal. Because I know there's like websites like Stage It and stuff that you can sell tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe like a show happens, if the venue or the band or whatever then broadcast through a platform like that with, selling a virtual ticket. So it's still, there's still money involved, because, you do the stuff for free all the time. So,
exactly.
So maybe that could be an option, like in the long run. But I mean, who knows what's going on?
Yeah, because I mean, the music industry is definitely taking a big hit.
Oh yeah,
and we're hoping that we can salvage anything, and hopefully this can, hopefully end sooner than later, and we can get back to doing shows. And
the day before everything got shut down, the next day I was supposed to do sound for Bowling for Soup.
I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, and it's just like everything got shut down. But then that weekend I did sound for like 13 bands for St. Patrick's Day, and it was like a cool way to have like a last somewhat normal show before everything got shut down. And that was another North Step show. I know Steve.
I had just got done playing one of my favorite venues, and then I think like a week or two after that, that's when everything started shutting down. And at that point, we weren't really sure if a lot of venues were going to stop. But then once it just got to like the news, they're like, okay, everybody just stay home. And I'm like, crap, this is like real. Like the biggest the WTF moment was when the freaking NBA stopped altogether. I watched that and I was like, this is nuts.
I was sitting at Blu-ray and AC when like everything was going across the TV, like no more of this, no more of that, no more of this. I
just saw people leaving I think it was the Dallas Mavericks stadium, because they did like the whole like, we had somebody contract the virus, so everybody's got to leave, and they're basically just saying, okay, well, the NBA season is canceled. I'm like, what? Like, since when do you hear words like
I'm
that?
Not a sports person, but like seeing all that, and I was like, whoa, that's big for like all these like things just, like done.
Yeah, like when's the last time you said all, like you've heard of all sports being done?
Yeah.
Like no sports whatsoever.
I was like, whoa.
And like you said, I mean, I grew up playing sports, and then music came into that eventually. I mean, my dad was a guitar player, so I've always had music in my life. But I grew up playing sports more than music.
Here's a random fact that has sports and me. So growing up, the only person in this chat that knows about this is my mother. But growing up, I played t-ball with Mike Trout.
Okay.
Which is like one of the best
what are the odds?
baseball players of our generation right now.
Right.
And like his mom or his aunt or somebody was like the coach of the t-ball team, and like we were like an undefeated t-ball team, which doesn't sound like much because it's t-ball and you're like 6 years old. But like then 20 years later, the person you played t-ball with is like sports superstar. It was his aunt.
Okay.
But yeah, that we were talking about sports. I was like, oh, that's a nice little random fact I don't ever get to like tell people.
There you go. Hey, that's something for you. That's something to kind of always put in the back of your pocket. But yeah, this has definitely been fun, and definitely want to do this again sometime, Dave. Thank you for being on here tonight, and thank you for everybody who has been here with us in the chat. Really appreciate you guys, and make sure you guys are checking out Dave if you haven't already. Make sure you go check out his music on Bandcamp at thedavidearlexperience.bandcamp.com. Make sure you're checking him out on Facebook and Instagram at The David Earl Experience. And, give him a little subscribe on YouTube. He has, I think you have some cover songs and maybe some originals on there, right?
Stuff on there, yes.
Okay. And if you guys are watching Table Talk for the first time, you guys can check out this episode and past episodes right at the link below at spokenlifemusic.com/table-talk. I usually upload this episode and more, usually the day after if I can. It'll be uploaded to YouTube, then also on my personal website as well. So thank you guys for being here. It's been fun. This is the 10th episode. It was an awesome way to introduce to the double digits.
Should I close it out with one more song?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do one more song for you. Let's close it out with one more song. Yeah, let's go with one more song.
You know what I'm gonna do? I gotta do Ocean Avenue.
We gotta do a little bit of Ocean Avenue.
Thank you everyone for watching this. Anthony, thank you so much for having me on this.
Absolutely, brother.
Dude, this was fun. If you need help getting guests on here, I know a ton of people. We're gonna make Table Talk huge. Like
we'll talk about more after the show.
Is only episode 10, but again, make sure you like his page, like my page if you feel like it. Anyway, this is Ocean Avenue.
There you go. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I
Woo!
feel like that was the perfect way to close out episode 10 of Table Talk.
There you go, guys. Thank you all for being here. This has been Table Talk. I am your host, Anthony Irvin, aka Spoken Life. Thank you again to my guest, David Earl.
Thank you, guys.
I would love to have you back again. Glad you had a fun time tonight. And we will see you guys on another episode. The next couple weeks, I might have to adjust the schedule for the next one. So make sure you guys are following me, and I will let you know when the next episode will be. So other than that, thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you on another episode of Table Talk. Have a great night, guys.